And welcome to Fatboy FadeAway episode 181. Good morning to anybody out there tuning in here on a Sunday morning. It's going to be a hot week out here in Northern California, preparing for 105 on Tuesday, but it's been a good week here. A lot of sports to get into. Got the NBA draft, got the guys here with me. Tyler McGirt, Casey, we're back at it this week. Been kind of in a nice little rhythm doing the show here for the last few weeks. Look forward to our Warriors discussion. Tyler, how are we doing out there?
I'm doing good. Preparing for this 110-degree weather that's coming up this week. I'm not excited about it, but we got an NBA draft. The Warriors didn't really participate till late in the round, but it's been a good week. How about you?
I don't think anybody probably outside of our area is complaining. They're like, what are they talking about? The weather 110. They probably deal with much worse out there, the humidity, but we don't care out there. That's what it is out here.
I live in my own world.
I'm doing pretty good. Busy week at work. Been like totally busy there for sure, but looking to take a little time off mid-July. So looking forward to that. Did seventh inning on Thursday. That was fun. Me and Casey and Doug did the draft show on Tuesday. So we had some good conversation as well as there. Casey, we got a little bit on the Warriors draft that day. We'll get into it more here in a sec. But how are you doing out there? How many of your 26 movies that you rented at the library have you watched now in the last week?
I probably watched like 60 movies this week.
Jeez,
so, my God.
I love my movies, man.
With Doug.
I should, man. There's a great one. I was telling Daren, it's called Woodlawn, about an Alabama team, 1973, Birmingham, racial times, obviously, but it's based on a true story in a hidden gem, I would say, with Sean Astin, Rudy, and then John Voight, too, so as Paul Bear Bryant. So really good movie. I would check it out.
I like it. John.
Little shout out.
Have you seen that movie, T?
No, I've never heard of it. But John Voight going from Varsity Blues to Paul Bear Bryant. That's quite the...
It's at least like 10 years old. It's at least 10 years probably now. I'd say that's probably what it's at now. Maybe.
Yeah, it's a good movie, man. It's a really good movie. The running back, obviously, black man, and came up, started taking over the role, and then the white quarterback that they were in the same division at that same time. They couldn't play in the championship or they played in the state championship, and they both ended up going to Alabama, the quarterback and running back, and ended up winning the national championship for Alabama for Paul Bear Bryant. So it was a pretty cool movie.
Was the 52nd pick enough for it to be a cool Warriors draft for you for the guy out of Boston College? Last Boston, it's funny. You know how I do those like pictures on X? I'll put them up. I haven't done as much last week. Today did Michael Dickerson just for you, Keith.
I saw that.
But Bill Curley, he went to Boston College. I always cracks me up when they drafted the guy out of Boston, a center out of Boston College. That's the first thing that came to my mind was Bill the Thrill Curley there with it. I didn't realize he got them to the Final Four or the Elite Eight in 1993. He like led the charge, Bill. No wonder he got drafted high. But what did you guys make of the Warriors? Not like necessarily. I kind of want to get into the draft history part of it because I feel like it was kind of for me, a very uneventful draft from a Warriors standpoint. Yeah. Did you guys feel the same way tuning in and watching it? I'm assuming, right? So I was kind of looking back, and the Warriors have like an interesting draft history. I kind of went back 30 years more. What I was kind of looking at, we know where Mullen was, Richmond, Hardaway, all that, and we could go deep into that too. But the first thing that I don't know, like I guess that's where I want to start is like, what's your first initial thoughts when you think of like Warriors draft history? I feel like they've had this success recently, but for me, it felt like some lean times for a long time there. Tyler, you got any thoughts on?
I mean, the drafts were horrible for my whole life until Steph Curry. Antoine, there was a few hits, Antoine, Gilbert. Outside of that, Weber for a year, but it always turned sour at some point for all those situations. Except for, I guess, Antoine probably maybe ended on a high note. He went and succeeded, but never really did anything with the Warriors. Before that, I can't even think of a good draft pick. Hardaway, Richmond, Mullen. So 6 guys before Steph Curry were adequate NBA players.
Do you think it has to do a lot with in '93, right? They get Weber. All right, so that's kind of where that falls with the first pick. but in 94 they get Washburn, and then 95 they get Joe Smith. And I kind of wonder if, like, from that run on, was it a lot of the time that they just didn't have like a competent GM, or not Washburn? I meant to say Clifford Rozier with in 94 out of Louisville. They had the 16th pick there. But like, I looked this up, Case. So since if we go back 30 years, they've picked in the top 10 12 times. So almost half the time they were picking in the top 10, and most of the time it was like 7 or below. And they picked 11th twice. They got Klay and Biedrins with those 11th picks. But I kind of wonder, like, they just were terribly run teams for such a long time there.
Oh yeah, it was atrocious. I mean, I did a look back. It was. I mean, Epe Udo, I think, was the 6th or 9th pick, and then Anthony Randolph, like Joe Smith, you glossed over, was the number 1 overall pick in that NBA draft. Chris Mullen, Tyler, to go back a little bit, that was 1985. So I mean, you're really stretching the the draft pool. I mean, no, I'm just saying, like, that's how bad our drafting was. Mitch Richmond, Hardaway, and then once you got into Steph, and then Klay, Festus, Harrison Barnes. But man, some of the decision, Wiseman at 3 overall, it was just really poorly ran. Like you said, I think I don't want to say the name, but I think it was Gary St. Jean that was doing the majority of that pick.
He ran a lot of that. He took over more in the 2000, like kind of that 2000 era with the Warriors. And then after that, they had Nelson ran it for a little bit over there. Then but Gary St. Jean did run it for a long period of time. He was a big reason for it, I felt like. But then the coaches were always inconsistent. But I mean, you look at some of those teams, like starting in 2000, like, and they had good opportunities. They had the 95 pick when you had Joe Smith, and they take him number 1. That doesn't work out at all. You know what I mean? And then you had 93 when you get Weber in that trade, when you had Hardaway at 3. Didn't work out at all. Those both times set your franchise back. You again pick number 3, and you get Mike Dunleavy, and like, you know what I mean? Like, none of these picks ever really. I mean, there was a 6-year stretch, and then after that, after they go, there's a stretch from 2002 to 2008. I mean, we're talking like this has to be some of the worst draft history that you can think of. Okay, so that in that 2001 year, that's the year they end up getting Richardson, Murphy, Arenas. But the year after that, they go Dunleavy, Mikel Petrus, Andres Biedrins, Ike Diagu, Patrick O'Brien, Marco Bellinelli, Anthony Randolph. They hit on Curry, and then they go Udo. So, I mean, the Curry's there, obviously, but we can't take that. But those other names, that is some bad drafting. And most of those picks were all top 10 picks. I mean, Marco Bellinelli was 18, I get it, and stuff like that. But most of those picks were high lottery picks. And Bellinelli turned out to have a decent career, but it was not with the Warriors. So that's all that that's all that matters. You know what I mean? So that's where I look at it. So I don't know. Like, that's rough right there, guys. That's rough.
Very bad. My favorite part is from 96 to 2000, Dunleavy. And they fell in love with these white big men that were just god awful. Todd Fuller, Jeff Foster, Troy Murphy, Mike Dunleavy. Like, why are we picking these?
Well, Jeff was in an Indiana trade, but yes, they stole the white guy. I'll give you that.
But they took him.
Yeah,
they could have taken somebody else.
They did.
You know what I took from that, Tyler? I was like, Daren obviously said this, the leak, and do the history. And I go, the Warriors are terrible at drafting big men. They have no knowledge of like what a big man is. Like Chris Webber, I don't think you could miss on that pick because he was so good. But everyone else was just like bad.
Patrick O'Brien? I mean, what are we doing over here? Like, that was. Like, those are like bad. Like, these aren't just like, right? These are not.
These are out of the league players. I mean, these are guys that aren't even on the rosters anymore, which is like crazy. And I told Daren, and we were talking with Doug, is Baron Davis basically made Andres Biedrins like a millionaire. Like, I mean, he just spoon fed him every time. I mean, Joe Smith, I mean, he had a long career. I mean, it was serviceable, but other than that, I mean, Anthony Randolph, you look at Wiseman now, like, these guys are like unplayable.
The Warriors can't draft bigs. I think we did an episode one time on the Warriors' big history and like how bad it is. Like, or no, it was they can't develop bigs. I think that's what we did it on.
They can't
develop. They can't. They have no history if you're a big human being, the Bay Area water does not work. I don't know what it is. I mean, I know people talk about the 70s, like those guys, Clifford Ray, but the Warriors really have not had. I mean, Bogut had his little run here for a little bit, but
I would say Daren, the best center besides the Warriors in Warriors history is Wilt Chamberlain and Andrew Bogut.
Yeah, I'd probably say so. So, what do you guys think recent history here? They get 2000, they draft this guy Post. Obviously, we have no idea. They get Pods. They get last year. It's like first year, they get, and then Baldwin, Kuminga, Wiseman, Poole, Evans, Jones. That's kind of like their recent history. Obviously, I'm kind of stopping with Barnes in 2012 a little bit.
Jordan Bell
a little bit. It's just funny how the Kuminga one, we'll see how that works out. He's obviously a player in the NBA, so they didn't completely miss on that one. But man, I guess Poole hit a little bit, but he had his moments of not looking like he was going to be a player for a little bit. So weird. They've picked later, but I don't know. I'm looking back. Their history is pretty bad.
It's
I was not impressed. Let's put it that way. I was not impressed.
I think the best part of their history, where they didn't really hit on the pick, but they made their franchise, is the whole tanking in 2012 for Harrison Barnes. Like we're gonna lose that pick if it went 8th or higher to the Utah Jazz, and they just went flat out tank mode. They sat Steph, they sat David Lee. They get the 7th pick, so they keep their pick. They bring in Harrison Barnes, and it sets up the whole small ball era with that lineup. Like it changed who the Warriors were forever. So like that was like the one glaring point outside of drafting Draymond, Klay, and Steph, where I was like, they actually thought ahead of the times in a certain aspect of like, we have to keep this pick. We don't have to just appease the fans for these 30 games. And I was like, hey, they finally did something good.
That was a weird one because I put that one changed everything for that short term. Even though Festus in 2016 has his moments now, looking back at that game where he wanted to slap him around the face, but he did pretty good there. What do you make of? Do you think Carter would have been the same player if he's drafted the Warriors there and they just keep him? Like, I know they kind of had something, all that stuff set up ahead of time, but like, I don't know. Like, do you think the Warriors franchise was so terrible at that point, Vince Carter would have probably been a result of that? Because Jamison was not a bad player. Obviously, Carter was better. But sometimes I wonder if just the element of the Warriors was so negative then. Would Carter have been able to overcome that?
I think Vince Carter was such a great player. I don't think it would really matter where he went. He would have got his points. He would have got his buckets. I think, the way.
But would he allowed the Warriors to win? I mean, Jamison got his buckets too. But I mean, would he change the franchise? Like a Hall of Famer does, like he did for Toronto.
I mean, I think
changed Toronto's franchise.
In my opinion, yeah. As soon as he got there, they at least made the semifinals a year. The Warriors were a lottery team. They never even we just went over when they were picking. They never were.
To your point, though, I think playing in the East helped them opposed to the West.
Sure.
So, but I mean, I think he would have been a great player no matter what. I mean, Vince Carter was a stud. I mean, obviously, you drop someone into a different type of franchise, and it's going to go either or. But
do you think yes or no? Do they go to a different level, or do they stay?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, Jamison, he had back-to-back 50-point games, but I think Vince Carter was just a different athlete, different player, just far above Antoine Jamison.
Man, the excitement he would have brought to the arena that would have been that time.
I mean, he put on a show in Oakland when he did the dunk contest. So that just drove a fucking knife in the heart right there. So
still one of my what ifs. Jamison in that dunk contest. I just want to know what he would have done.
A baby hook.
A baby hook. Go ahead, T.
I agree with Casey. I think they would have been much better off with Vince. He was just too good individually. Like, I don't know if the franchise. I think Vince would have still had the same type of career. I don't think the franchise would have been much better.
They're not making the playoffs with Vince, though. That's what I mean. Like with Jameson, they were winning 20 games still some of these years.
I think they're winning like 30 to 33 games. Like I don't think they're making the playoffs. They were terrible. And you look at the roster around those guys. Nobody was winning with those teams. You could have put Michael Jordan in those teams. They might have won 45 games.
Dude, we
Like,
were excited when Earl Boykins came on the scene, Anthony Morrow, like these guys. Like it was just like that we're just expecting anything from like just like you can see talent as a fan, and like you saw
we were
Vince
excited for
Carter,
Brian Cardinal.
How many years do you guys think Jameson played on the Warriors?
the janitor.
7.
How many years do you think, Case?
Say that again, dude.
How many years do you think Jameson played on the Warriors?
How many years? I know when Dallas had a great career. I want to say 8.
He played only 5 years on the Warriors.
5. Wow,
5, and anyway,
that's surprising.
Yeah, they went Dallas for that one and ended up in Washington for a while. And that's when he really started to have more success. Yeah, what do you go 9, 19, 24, 19, and 22 winning most improved player for the Warriors. And then, of course, they get rid of him when he wins some sort of award back then. So, yeah, to me, that's always an interesting one where that so you guys think he would have maybe changed it a little bit, but I don't know. It's a hard one for me on that. That's what the Warriors are.
To me, though, Antoine Jameson had probably the most iconic, I think, just reminiscing on Kobe too, was the back-to-back 50-point games
right
with
there.
LA. I mean, that's probably lives in. I would say that's up there with Klay and Curry's like anything for Warriors history because that was just unheard of back then. And see him, Antoine Jameson, dueling with Kobe Bryant back-to-back 50-point games is just. I don't know. I know I'm going old school here, but I mean that was just when you're like, hey, we finally have a guy that's like, worth watching. Yeah.
Daren, to reverse that question on you, if
Yeah.
you don't believe Vince would have been elevated the Warriors franchise, you never really gave your response. Do you think Antoine Jameson was going to lift the Toronto Raptors?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think Vince definitely gives the Warriors a better chance at least making the 8 seed. That meant a lot back then to Warriors fans. Like, I mean, you look at that, the rosters were pretty rough for a while. I mean, Jameson wasn't playing with anybody, but it would have been added entertainment value to it. I remember like one of the games it was with the Raptors. The Warriors were up by 21, I want to say, going into the fourth, and the Warriors scored 2 points in the fourth quarter. The Raptors end up tying the game, and then they lose in overtime. I was like, I mean, we're talking peak crappiness of the Warriors. That's what
like Montego Cummings and Bob Surabek.
It was a little bit above that one, but it was like, but it was basically right in that. It was that 2001 era when they won. They were just awful.
Hey, Daren, you'll know this better than me. I did look back. The Warriors did draft Penny Hardaway at 3rd, but I didn't know the actual logistics.
They traded him for like 5 first-round picks.
Okay. So I was curious because I saw that and I was like, I forgot they drafted Penny, and I was like, shit. I was like, they did draft him because I do recall that. But so it was 5 first-round picks is what they got.
Yeah, they got 5 first-round picks for that one. It's funny to me also that Foyle is kind of like the Randy Wynn of the Giants. Like, I'm like, how is this guy always synonymous with the Warriors? Like, I don't know. Like, he's like every I mean, I get he's a nice guy, but I don't know. It always kind of just cracks me up. Because if you look at Donald's stats, you're like, my gosh, how's this guy like doing it?
How's Gary St. Jean an announcer?
Oh,
it makes no sense. They bring back these bums who like hurt the franchise and talk about the franchise now.
What a personality!
Well, they brought back Mike Dunleavy as GM.
And Tyler, you said that you know, if we get to the real Warriors for just say, oh, hold on real quick. Last thing on draft night, the production for me, I don't know, guys. Like, I know it's like a newer era, but like, I know I'm 39, so I try to separate myself from trying to like latch on to what was popular when I was a kid because some of those things I didn't like either. So I try to remind myself, but like the NBA draft production from the 90s, I'd rather have than this era. And I wasn't even a big draft, but like I like how they're like they have like a way better group of people that are up there, like their main guys they used to have from TNT, like Ernie Johnson, like Hubie Brown, like actual guys that played basketball or coached the game, kind of were involved in college at that time. And I love the idea of the players being able to like trade hats on the night. Like, I don't know, like it feels too much like I'm going to a glamour show when I'm at this thing. Like I always got that the suits were part of the draft, but I don't know, like, am I being weird about it? It's just, it's not this. When I tuned in, it's just like some of the guys that are talking about it too. I'm just like, I don't know. It's not the same for me watching it.
My biggest issue is you don't even know what team the guy is going. Like, there's all these trades, and you're like, okay, so what team is this guy going to end up on? And it becomes this algebra problem that you have to figure out. Like, okay, this guy's going here, this guy, and it's like in the NFL that doesn't happen. The trade happens, you know what team the guy's going to end up on like right away. And it just isn't. And these guys some of them aren't that good. Like I haven't heard of 90% of the players until that night.
Yeah.
And to your point, Tyler, I would say this. I watched one hockey game all year, and that was Game 7, Oilers and Panthers. I knew who the first pick of the Sharks was going to be. Not just because I'm the Sharks fan, because I've heard of Celebrini. I had no clue who the hell the first pick was in the NBA draft, and I kind of fronted with Daren and Doug. I was just like, these guys, like, I've not heard of like a vast majority of these guys.
No,
which I don't think is to my fault or anyone else's fault. Is like, I don't live in Europe, so I don't know French. Like, I am French, German, and Irish, but I've never heard of like half the draft class.
Well, I know,
which makes it I wouldn't say makes it frustrating, but I was more intrigued with the WNBA draft this year than I was with the NBA draft because I knew who the hell they were.
This is true.
Now, I know the players are bad, but I'm talking more the TV side of things. Like, I think the production of what I'm watching is like not the same. Like there's like it's so much more glamour to it that it's like more like, oh my gosh, what are we talking? This guy has played 1 year. What are we doing here, having to make this like a huge show? Like, let's just kind of like. I think the hats things were way better back then. The simple, I don't know. Like, for me, all that is just, it's way over the top. And now we're going 2 days. Like, I don't know. It was just kind of odd for me. That's all.
I didn't know the Sharks drafted the Red Mamba.
The Red Mamba? You didn't know? Oh, that was going to be my winner of the week.
Scalabrine.
Come on. Your brother's
I knew they drafted Macklin Celebrated. I was just making a joke about his last name.
What did you guys think of the Dunleavy a little bit here, like reviewing a little bit of his first coach? I mean, the Paul trade obviously didn't work out very well for him on that one. And he also, he gets kind of killed a little bit for not doing anything at the deadline this year. I don't know. As a Warriors fan, it's going to take a little time to trust Mr. Mike to make any move. I understand you could say, well, he's not in the best spot, but how many GMs really are in the best spot to actually, to really compete if don't have the top 4 player at the time? And then you can say they still do have that with Curry. So I don't know, like, it sounds like the Warriors are trying to get in on George on stuff. It sounds like Klay's gone, but Dunleavy to me is going to have to show me something. I don't have any confidence in him to get something done. Tyler, you seem to have a little bit more confidence in him.
No, I just wouldn't fire him is all I said. I'm not firing him after a year. And I think the Warriors are in a tough spot because they don't have a good roster and they have the best player in their franchise's history, where everyone wants to keep them around and make everything work. But at the expense of that, you're ruining your future when you only have 3 years left with this guy. And can you even get guys you can win with this guy still? And I don't know if you can. Like, it's just to me, that's a really weird spot to be in. So do I have faith in Dunleavy? No, I don't think it's going to work out in the long run. But I think firing him now would look bad. Why would a GM ever come here?
Yeah, no, I got you.
I think a good over-under is, does Dunleavy have a longer playing career or a longer GM stint with the Warriors? That'd be the one I would take.
Does he ever rip his shirt off in the box?
But yeah, I mean, to the passion though, to what you're talking about, Daren, and I have to share this story. I went on my buddy Mike's yesterday, good homie, and his grandma's about, I would say, mid-80s, and first thing, give her a hug, and I look on her iPad, I go, what's she looking at? She goes, you hear the Warriors might be trading Chris Paul? And I go, man, that's going to be me sitting in the wheelchair when I'm 80. God, what the hell are the Warriors still doing? I was just like, this strap. She's like, I don't know what they're doing, but you're wearing the right gear, kid. I was just like, yep, I'm not sure, but it was kind of cool. I was like, man, just seeing someone of that age still passionate. I was like, that's going to be me. And she's like, I don't know what they're going to do with this Chris Paul guy. And I go, yeah, I don't know either. She goes, that was a bad sighting. It was pretty cool though, to reminisce with someone like, those years of just like kind of like a reflection. Later, I'm like, God, hopefully the Warriors aren't as bad as they were when we were younger.
So do you think Paul? I think it was a bad trade. Like
it was terrible. I didn't like it.
People have their issues with Poole. I'd rather still have Poole than Paul. I say it right now. I'd rather still have him.
Me too. 100.
I have no issue with the trade. I don't want Jordan Poole on my team. He's gone. It wasn't a good trade because Chris Paul didn't work out, and they didn't.
You loved it. You were really hyping Mr. Christopher for this start.
Well, I thought he'd be better. I didn't know Draymond was going to miss 30 games and not play. Like, it all factors in. Like, it is what it is. It didn't work, but I'm glad Jordan Poole is not on my team.
Klay's gone.
Klay's gone.
Good night,
Well,
Dallas.
I'm gonna believe it when I see it. I'm not buying it till I see him sign the paper.
How can they actually sign somebody? How can Paul George even be a rumor?
He's not coming now that he opted out.
That's what I mean. Like, I really don't see anybody they're actually going to be able to get that's going to help them. And it has to be a trade somewhere that I'm not expecting, and I don't see. They're pretty stuck. They're pretty stuck. Lori, I guess would be. I don't know. They're pretty stuck, guys. I really tried hard to like think of something. I mean, the Hawks. I was like, maybe they Murray, but that's gone now.
Do you guys read it? Do you guys read anything into the Warriors blocking supposedly Andrew Wiggins playing from the Olympic Games? Do you think that's
they want to the Jameson trade? The pettiness of Vince Carter.
Steve Kerr said, "I'm coaching America. You're not playing for Canada."
Do you think that plays anything to them trying to trade him and make him healthy so they can make him available for a trade? Or do you guys not read anything to that?
I think if Wiggins really wanted to play, he could make a big enough deal about it to play.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Unless he has somewhere in his contract or something, but I don't see that. I don't think that'd be the case.
Well, Canada's blaming the Warriors, and the Warriors saying it's mutual.
Well, with all these damn personal problems, get your mental health right.
Be available after the 50 game mark. That'd be nice. Be available, right? It's like the last 2 years, the 50 game mark hit, we went on like a 10 game hiatus. I obviously know there's reasons for sure, but it was not helping the team in that regard. So we'll see what happens there with Wiggins. A lot of people are ripping on him as well this week. So draft notes: Bronny gets lit to the Lakers at 55. I don't know what you guys said. Bronny was kind of the biggest storyline of the whole draft, basically, because of going to the Lakers. I mean, do you guys actually think he would have been drafted if LeBron wasn't in the league? Is there a chance he gets drafted? Okay. And I think our guy P Sharp was like, I don't have no problem with that. Dads get their kids into the league. I don't really have a problem with it either in that standpoint. It doesn't really make sense. It's just, I don't know. If there's better players available, I guess, why not get them? But I guess at 55, you just take LeBron. But this whole notion that LeBron's not the GM, I feel like continues to go out of the window, in my opinion. So that, Pelinka is LeBron's assistant in some ways, the way I look at it. Do you guys look at it that same way?
Yeah, I think he's pulling the purse strings, and I think he opted out to have more leverage and have more say. Like, if he opts in, then he can't leave. They do what they want, and you opt out. I'm going to leave if you don't draft LeBron with this 55 overall pick. Maybe he doesn't say it, but it's insinuated in the opt-out. And my biggest problem is the Klutch. His best friend owns Klutch. LeBron, I feel like you mentioned to Rob Pelinka. Like, I think LeBron runs Klutch. I think Rich Paul does whatever the hell LeBron tells him to do. So I think there's like this. It just bugs me that he has this power over like teams not to draft a kid. If they did want to draft him, obviously I don't think they would have, but to call teams and say, don't draft him. And like, it just seems weird. It seems like it should be illegal in certain aspects, but it's all semantics because he's not the owner of Klutch. But I do think he runs it in a certain aspect.
Go ahead, Jason.
I agree with you, Tyler, on a certain extent. And then I kind of pushed back though a little bit because if we remember the Lakers and trying to get Chris Paul, and so I mean, there's always I would say there's always someone at the top that's running things that we never know about, and it's like kind of videoing trades that never made sense, and then now you got a GM, but not a GM, but I would say in a sense LeBron is the GM, so it's like. And Bob Myers spoke on it, I thought, pretty candidly. It was just like Rich Paul was just like, if you draft Bronny, he's going to go to Australia. So why even waste a pick on him? You know what I mean? So,
I'm glad other GMs aren't as petty as me because that would have been my first sign to draft the kid. It'd be like, go to Australia, then, kid.
I thought the same thing, bro. I ain't going to lie. I was like, all right, you want to test the waters? Go for it. But, LeBron's done so much for the NBA, and I think it's really powerful, man, to be honest, like, to play with your son. No, Darren, you can laugh all you want, man.
No, because I'm laughing at Tyler because it's like You speak Chinese. They're like, what's that little meme? Learn to speak Chinese, buddy. Like that. That was what I was thinking about.
But I'm just saying, man, you can say nepotism, whatever it is, but when you've got that much cachet in the game and you've brought billions of dollars to this league, if
They're
you
gonna
want your son to
bend
play
over
with
backward
you,
for you.
yeah, I mean, what the hell? I mean, what's it gonna hurt? The 55th overall pick. It's not like he was a
Hey,
top 10.
we got Jackson Davis at 57 last year. They could have really missed an opportunity. They
As yeah, don't get me started on that. Don't get me started on that shit, bro.
They missed an opportunity. Come on, Casey, it's ridiculous. Like in the sense of he actually he literally got drafted because LeBron.
Is there anything wrong with that though?
I didn't say there's anything wrong with it, but it doesn't make like the most sense. I guess it was just like
it makes the most sense is what's wrong with the sense of making the sense, right?
Just this whole fact that like LeBron's not making these decisions, like for me, is like, can we put that to rest? He is.
Oh, he is. I mean, come on, we're not that naive to know
that's
that
kind of
he's
where I'm
controls.
Yeah, but he does think we're that naive and stupid, because he comes out with these statements saying, "I don't make the decisions. I'm just
dribbling the basketball."
I feel like he controls every side of the story. Is the most.
He's the one that said He's the one that said I'm taking my talent to South Beach. So I mean, obviously he knows what he's saying when he does it. So I mean, he's going to be coming up on 40. I think it's a blessing. You can come do whatever and say negativity thing, but for just to have your son playing with you, I think is a dope thing. The only thing is like
make the roster though. That's a whole different.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, he'll make the roster. Yeah,
it's LeBron's son.
Come on now.
So forever we'll have the Ken Griffey and we'll have the thing there with it.
LeBron can put a couple more first to do something in his record.
Tyler, what do you think he's gonna say when he says pass the ball? Dad, Daddy, or LeBron?
I don't know. If he's saying daddy, I don't know if the other teammates are gonna handle that. 23? I don't know.
That was kind of interesting one. I think that was the most debatable thing. Like I said, nobody cares about helping your son get a job, but it was just kind of interesting in the business that professional sports are. Usually, you get those glamour picks a little bit in the second round, so that's kind of what this was. And we'll see. You guys think he's going to be on the roster? I'm not so sure he'll be on the roster. I'm going to guess he starts in the G League still.
I thought he said he wouldn't sign a two-way.
I don't know. Okay, then he goes start speaking Chinese.
Hey, if Brock Purdy can make a roster, Bronny James deserves a roster.
Brock Purdy, big shot over there.
That's for Brian Johnson.
What did you guys? So the Giants, moving on to baseball a little bit. Giants lose another legend this week, Cepeda. 87, he passes away. Born in Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rican Bowl.
Won the MVP with the Cardinals, believe it or not, but he did after he played for the Giants. For a while, they won the World Series there against the Tigers in '67. So it got me thinking with all the deaths of the Giants. About a rough week here. Who do you think is the best living ball player now? A lot of people are going to say Barry Bonds for sure. So do you guys have is Pujols number 2? Is he is he better than Koufax? Is he better than Griffey? Is Griffey better than him?
I think it's Pujols. I'd say Pujols number 2. Griffey's close. Griffey could be 1. You could argue. I think Bonds is 1, and I think it's pretty clear. Is there any other older guys that are still alive?
Juan Marichal.
Those are
the best ever.
There's an older player,
but
Ricky Henderson.
Ricky Henderson. I'd put him 2. No, Pujols is better than Henderson. It's close.
Whoa, we're gonna have a big debate on that one time, Tyler. I mean, I don't know. I think if we're talking about Cepeda, I mean, he was the best power hitter for the Giants. He was the first Giant to hit 40 home runs. He won the MVP with the St. Louis Cardinals. Rookie of the Year with the Giants. Just an incredible player. He moved from first base to outfield. Just an incredible athlete. First Puerto Rican Hall of Famer ever. So, I mean, I think as Mom talked about the last time we were on here, just seeing these legends die is just kind of a reminder of how how great the game used to be and how much they used to like go through. We still go through as a society, but just the passion that I play with. And I did write down one of Orlando Cepeda's quote is "Success is not given; it is earned. You have to work hard for it." That was what his most famous quote is. He's known for, and I think that speaks to the man that he was. And yeah, it's tough to lose legends, man. As we're getting older, you just kind of reminisce on these
So-
guys, and I think
Like
it's sad.
these are the guys we didn't even watch. These are like our
That's what I'm saying. So
parents'
on that
age.
note, which guys for you would hit the most kind of?
I just want to mention Cepeda. Like my dad always brought up, Cepeda getting traded to the Cardinals is the worst trade in Giants history. Like they lost one of the best hitters in all baseball. And they get back Ray Sadecki, who does absolutely nothing for the Giants for his career. Like, and my dad always brings it up every time I talk about Orlando. He's like, we had the best power hitters in the league, and we traded one of them away for a bum. But yeah, Dan, what was the question again?
No. That's funny. The Giants that trade. I didn't really look into it, but what a name, Sadecki. What one would be like? Griffey, would Griffey be the player where you're like, oh man, I know Bonds would hit a little bit, like even McGuire, Canseco, like these are like guys, they're like about, a little bit older. That's kind of an era for us. Those are the names as we start to get older. If they got older, like those are the kind of the first ones that jump out to me. Dave Stewart, I know Ricky Henderson, but like Will Clark. These are some of the names I think that would like. I would be like, wow, those guys were good ball players back in the day. Roger Clemens, like those are like kind of the big names. That
Derek Jeter.
Billy Swift.
Bill Swift. I don't know any of those names, like Maddox. I don't know. Like those guys would be like the ones that kind of like, wow, we're getting old. Randy Johnson's passing away. Like he's 85 or something. That's kind of crazy.
I mean, the ones with local connections, I think it's McGuire and Bonds, and then maybe Dave Stewart and Ricky Henderson. Nationally, like the guys who are a little older than us, I'm thinking, not the guys playing now. Jeter. The trio in Atlanta, the Smoltz, Maddox, Glavine, Pedro, Randy Johnson, Ken Griffey Jr. Those are the guys who I'd be like, oh man, these are the best players of their era. Frank Thomas.
I would also include Cal Ripken Jr.
Cal Ripken, that's a good one.
He'd be in there. Ichiro,
You know who probably is on that best living player we didn't mention is Nolan Ryan.
Nolan Ryan,
probably on that list. That one, 7 no-hitters to me is always one of the most amazing things. I'm always like, that. I don't know, that one, 7 no-hitters and 5,000 strikeouts.
I saw some stat. Someone would have to average like 2,500 or 250 strikeouts for like 25 years to pass him up or something like that. Like, my God, people barely get 200 these days because they don't pitch enough innings.
Yeah,
just food for thought. What do you guys think? Just off the top of my head, first record broken. Nolan Ryan's strikeouts, Ricky Henderson's stolen bases, or Steph Curry's threes, or Barry Bonds home runs.
Curry's threes.
There's
no way the other 3 are getting touched.
You think
I think Bonds' home runs are second, and then it's I don't think the other 2 are getting touched. Those aren't anyone's coming close.
And then Joe DiMaggio, right? I mean, who's getting 56 hits in a row?
That one's never getting broken either. It'd be more incredible if somebody could break Pete Rose's 44 or 40. That'd be like, that would be kind of like.
That's the one that never made sense to me. Why no one could break? Like it's tough, obviously, to get a hit. Like we watched it happen continuously. Like Luis Castillo did good run back in the early 2000s. No one's come close. Like you don't even get to 30 these days. But
it just seems like 2 months of getting a straight hit. 2 months.
You can go 1 for 4 and you move on. It's not like you have to be 3 for 4 every game.
But I think it's the walks too that doesn't so all that adds up to it's not getting on base, it's the hit.
And you're facing like 3 pitchers a game instead of 2, or it makes it tough for sure.
And you got to think the better pitchers lock in more the closer you get, or you would think they're trying to lock in even more. Like they're not. I don't know. You want anything? You want to really end this guy's streak? That's what I think.
One of the best fantasy players ever was Juan Pierre.
Little Juan, him and
Scott Posednik.
Will we ever have a 1-2 leadoff like that again? I don't know about that.
I don't think so.
You get more Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper 1-2s though, and Luis Castillo and Juan Pierre.
That's funny. You'll have the big. Who's the leadoff now? Wade Jr. for your guys out here. Do you think, I was thinking this last baseball note, is Griffey, it's got to go, Griffey and Trout to me are the only guys that are really different in the last 30 years. Like, and I'm talking like from a both. They hit, like Pujols is a good, but he wasn't like an athlete where you're like, wow, what a star like that. He's robbing home runs. And, he's out there kind of like the showman of the game a little bit. He had Bonds, obviously we talked about him. But Griffey, though, was that star. I can't really think of another like center fielder or something like that, or an outfielder where like you just knew he was going to be hitting close to 40 home runs, getting maybe 20 stolen bases, and being an athletic freak on the field. So I don't know. Is there anybody that else stands out to you like that? I mean, A-Rod a little bit, but even it wasn't the same dynamic as with center fielder. So those are like that. Is there anybody else? Am I missing something?
I don't know about stolen bases. Andrew Jones was there. It wasn't a decade-long success like those two guys had, but
he didn't have the flair.
Just because didn't have the flair.
Not on offense the way those guys did, like stealing bases and the ability to
home run with the World Series when he was 18.
No, he did. I get you.
I would say
I don't think he was the player those two guys are for sure. I wouldn't put him
like the athletes. What I'm thinking, like overall.
But I think he's an athlete like those. He just wasn't the same player. Those two guys.
I'd say
top of the food chain. Go ahead, Casey. Sorry.
I was going to say a flash in the pan would probably be the first that comes to mind was Yasiel Puig.
That's a real flash in the pan.
That's another level. But he was an athletic freak.
Yeah. I mean, he hit with power. He did like everything that we do in baseball World Cups now, so to speak, the classics. Had an amazing arm. I mean, ridiculous. That throw from Colorado is just still one of the most impressive throws I've ever seen in my life. Just stand still and chuck it 300 easily, 300 feet straight line to the third base. That's the first name that I can really think about that was just like athletically freakish in the MLB. And now that we got
Jackson, he got put in the Hall of Fame, I guess, but that wasn't between that era. That wasn't really in our
era. That's going back. I mean, Harold Reynolds could explain that throw, or he still can't.
Yeah, it's all right.
Have you speaking of great throws? Have you seen those throws from this Japanese guy, the Korean guy in the Korean League? Oh my god, I gotta find the video and send it.
Send me the link. Is he hitting things or throwing guys out? Is he hitting?
No, he's throwing guys out with absolute Ichiro, like a little better than Ichiro rockets. I'm like, holy smokes, this can't be real. Maybe it's AI generated.
Get him on the.
That's a name, Tyler. Ichiro, right there, is probably one of the. I would say that's probably the last great baseball player I've probably seen in the outfield is Ichiro.
Yeah, that's a good call. He just wasn't like 6'3" like those two guys, but you're right. He did have
30
that
jacks.
He did it, but he was a different athlete on the field. He definitely was. Like
he could hit the ball to third base and be safe.
Any type of chopper, it was a single.
Easy money.
And he was such a good internet. He really was. He was one of the best. Giants have a rough loss yesterday. Did you guys see any of the Jose Iglesias concert after the Mets win the other day? Casey, did you see that?
No, I did not.
I'll try to get it
up
up there. Tyler, you got to talk for a few seconds before I get out. Did you see that?
The Mets get a big W. They have this concert after. They're all dancing and singing and Citi Field. I was like, what is going on here? This is like, what was their closer who's been sucking it up who got hurt?
Diaz.
When Diaz used to come out in the ninth, they'd have that Mexican music play or whatever music that is. Sorry if I'm singling out a race. I think he's Puerto Rican or Dominican. Hispanic music coming out. They're all dancing. This was like the whole crowd, the whole team out there having a big concert. Where's the video, Daren?
I had to find it. I wasn't saying that. The other thing too that was funny about it is like you thinking about what player on your team could actually do something. Could Patrick Bailey do a little performance after the thing here? So Jose Iglesias, Casey is the guy. Let's see if hopefully
Enrique
plays second base for the Mets. They just beat the Astros 7-2. Now here comes the team.
I thought that was the Astros to come beat them up.
So great. it's funny to
That's
me
great.
because what was it, Susie, who I did the baseball thing with the other day. She got one of her tweets afterwards. We got High School Musical after the game.
Pretty funny.
That's great. You lose, and then you got one of the players doing a concert. And the whole team runs out. He went 3 for 4 yesterday after the concert, so he did. He played well. I guess I didn't realize he was an actual like singer of the song. I didn't know anything about that. I didn't realize he actually sang the song. I thought he was just performing somebody else singing the song. So no, I didn't realize that at all. Tyler, did you realize that?
No, I didn't know he was a singer-songwriter. I thought that was probably some copy, like whatever, when people copy other people's songs, come out and sing. So I had no idea. It was pretty good, though. I mean, it's catchy.
It was. Nolan Ryan would definitely be pegging him probably the next pitch, though.
He wouldn't have
he was on the mound. Nolan might have hit somebody the next pitch.
Do you guys think Grimace should replace Mr. Met? I think they should get 3 now after Grimace made his appearance.
Grimace, I know. I missed this story.
What? That's why the Mets get so much hype now. Is when they were 27-38, and
you never heard of Grimace?
He threw out the first pitch, and they've lost like 3 times since then. So that's the reason, is the Grimace guy.
He's the big purple, the guy from McDonald's right there.
Tyler, you got to start tuning into 7th inning again. I mean, you
Why
got to
say gay by the first storyline is gay Grimace. Mets better win on Pride Day.
That did come up a lot. Anyways, he threw out the first pitch, and ever since he threw out the first pitch, they've been on fire. So that's kind of the storyline. If you're a Mets person out there, they
went from the bottom to the top. I mean, they went 13 under right there. Now they're like 2 games over, I believe.
Yeah, they're on fire. They're on fire right now.
Yeah. Grimace is the reason.
On their side, they're on fire right now. The Mets.
Mr. Met's in jeopardy of losing his job right now. Grimace was chugging brews in the fans.
Tyler, who's a forgotten power hitter?
As he forgot, first name that came to my mind, but I don't even know if he's forgotten. Jim Tomey, like Richie Sexton.
I went Travis Hafner. That was what
Travis Hafner, Doink or Donk or whatever the hell they called him before Gronk. It was like the precursor to Gronk.
I'd say Adam Dunn's up there.
Yeah, Adam Dunn's definitely up on that list.
Greg Vaughn.
That's a great call. I had him written down. Big Mo.
Mo.
Uncle Mo. You go
Brady Anderson.
Jack
right there.
Jack Custon there.
Sal Fasano.
Uncle Sal. What do you guys think of
Javi Lopez is a forgotten power hitter.
That's a good call.
That's a good. Dante Bichette.
I was at an A's game where Javi Lopez hit one of the farthest home runs I've ever seen live. I mean, he hit the center field windows. Like, he hit it up there. That's a bomb at Mount Davis. I was like, yeah. The A's lost like 15-1, and I thought the season was over. That was right there. What were you saying, T?
I'm just looking at Javi Lopez stats to see if he's Hall of Fame eligible, because he gets no consideration and he's kind of a little short.
Yeah,
but
if Posada doesn't get in, I don't think he can get in.
I would say one of the biggest power hitters forgotten is Frank Thomas.
I don't know if he's forgotten. He made the Hall of Fame at least.
He's got the commercials, but they faded out. So.
Great commercials, great protein shakes, or whatever they.
Albert Bell.
Albert's one there. He will be on the good list. This is a random one.
Not
quite on those guys' levels, but he did have a little run. Played for the Milwaukee Brewers. Jeremy Burnitz was one that I kind of forgot.
He was always that fringe 4th outfielder on our fantasy teams.
Exactly, one of those guys where he'd be like, "Well, you get right there."
Who was the 1-2 combo with Prince Fielder in Milwaukee those years, and they were really good?
Ryan Braun.
I forgot who it was. Yeah, that's
Aaron Rodgers. He was there. You're out with it. The Pirates. I was looking at some of the teams. Like the Pirates never really had. They had like not power hitters. They had Giles. They didn't really have some of those guys. There was a few.
Jason Bay. Laid by the Bay.
Remember when the Rays tried to do it with Canseco, Greg Vaughn, McGriff, and Vinny Castillo, and the Rays they signed all 4 of those guys in one off season to try to like hype on.
and Ben Greaves.
They traded that team, and
Lou Piniella.
Oh yeah, you remember that, right?
One of the greatest arms you'll never see.
He chastised Ben Grieve.
Took him to school. You loser. Don't do anything. All right, you guys want to see? This was my MLB trivia this week. Tyler, it was fun. You also see look, and I had a good MLB flashback, so you have to go back and watch those ones with it. All right, I'll give you guys. See if you watch seventh inning, you already saw it, but we'll see if they can get it. Hit number 1. I played for 11 seasons from 2011 to 2021 for 7 teams, hitting 218 bombs, 640 RBIs. I started my career with the Reds.
Okay.
Aaron Boone?
Good guess. No good.
That's too late.
Good guess, though. We're on the right track. I was a 2-time All-Star in 14 and 15. I was traded to the Cubs, or to the White Sox, in 2015. I also won the Home Run Derby in 2015. Josh on my 7th inning, he's all, this is 10 years ago. I'm like, yeah, what do you want me to do? Like, write the guy's name with it? Like,
was it Paul Konerko?
That's too late.
Too late.
A White Sox won the Home Run Derby?
I didn't say he was on the White Sox when he won it.
He got traded to the White Sox in the middle of the year.
He won it and he played for the Reds, and then he got traded.
So who the hell went from the Reds?
Sean Casey.
He was on the Reds. He was on the Reds team that had the heart. It's close. He was 3rd in Rookie of the Year, his year as well.
Juan Encarnacion. No.
This might give it away. I'm currently a host on a very popular podcast, Foul Territory, that I reached the playoffs 3 times, but never won the World Series. My best chance was with the Reds in 2012. Matt Latis let him down. You played against your playoff team, Tyler.
Who the hell was on that team?
Hey, you got me stumped, bro. I named all the ones I got.
Obviously when I did the show, this is where Susie and them got it because of Foul Territory. You guys must not watch that. You must not watch that podcast. It's a great AJ present. You never seen the one with AJ Przinsky on it? Even on the on X, even that coming across.
I see AJ Przinsky. I turned it.
Oh, he's really good on this. He's really good on this podcast.
AJ Przinsky.
He's really good on it. He's on part of it. Yeah.
Who the heck was on that team? Brandon Phillips?
No. He's a white guy. Played for the Mets. Played for end of there. Todd Frazier is the answer. The Todd father. I thought Tyler might get with it. So that was all right. That was the stuff with it. Foul Territory. It's funny. They got it as soon as I mentioned that. The other lady was a Cardinals fan. She actually would have got it, but she said the way I worded that Home Run Derby, which I did on purpose, fooled her thinking it was a White Sox that won it, and not.
That's what I thought too. Yeah.
But she didn't guess it. So yeah, that was my trivia. So got you guys stumped this week. That's right. So
surprised they pulled Paul Konerko out my ass. I haven't heard that.
Aaron Boone wasn't a terrible guess. Aaron Boone wasn't a terrible guess at all. That was actually a pretty good one, if I'd be honest with that one. So, all right, those are some of my things with it this week. I got a couple of videos I'll get up for you guys here as we kind of get to winners and losers. I got a few things for it. Tyler, you got any winners of the week or losers, wherever you want to start with us?
The losers is Oracle Field just getting taken over and run down by Dodger fans. It's embarrassing. The Giants are just a mess. It's a big loser for my fan base and the whole organization. Fire Farhan immediately.
Farhan with us. Maybe this is what Tyler wants to do to Farhan.
Without breaking my toe.
Good night.
Such a beast.
I like how in UFC you can just we're all watching that. You're like, good night. All right, let's let him get a few more in there. He's like, I think the kick was sufficient. I don't know. I think that was. I don't even watch that stuff, but that was wow. That was a brutal shot there to take.
The interesting thing about that fight is with 3 seconds left in the first round, he knocks him down with a big left hook and basically knocks him out, but then gets saved by the bell, so he gets up wandering to his corner. Then 10 seconds into that round, he gets kicked in the head. Not a good night for Yuri.
Man, what a shot there! That was That's a winner.
He broke his toe too. He was adjusting his toe like the rest of the night when he was on TV.
Oh, I mean, that would be
Man.
tough. Casey, you got a winner?
Perfect segue, my brother. I got a winner of the week, which was a movie. It's called Born a Champion. Great movie. Which is about the beginning of MMA, UFC. Sean Patrick Flannery, Katrina Bowden, and Dennis Quaid. Phenomenal movie. I would check it out. Talks about the original jiu-jitsu before UFC was even allowed to do UFC in America, whereas fought in Dubai and a lot of places because senators like John McCain thought it was too brutal. It was not made for America, and I highly recommend that thing. I would say that's my winner of the week for sure.
It's weird how our society, like, we allowed like some brutal stuff back in the day. Then we went through a period of like, no, you can't do that, bare knuckle. It's kind of no, now we can do all these things with it. That's a good winner. I have one more. Did you guys see the soccer play from the other day?
Yeah.
He's getting a little drink.
Frank Alvarado.
He only has the ball, Casey, but in the background,
And Govern has no idea. Oh my goodness. Unbelievable. And then Tiare putting in the back of the net.
Frank Alvarado.
Tyler, have you ever experienced this as a former goalie? This ever?
No, I'm not.
That was a crazy play. I saw that last night. I was like, "What the?" Obviously, none of those soccer players have played basketball. Look out behind you! And I was thinking, like,
I think my favorite time with Tyler as a goalie, me being the sweeper, was he looked at me and said, "Hey," the ball's probably way across the field, and goes, "In case I just broke my wrist." And I was like, "What the hell just happened?" He's like, "I tripped in the net." And I was like, "What do you mean you just broke your wrist?" He's like, "I fell in the net." He's like, "Yeah." Then later it comes out that Uncle Paul actually broke his wrist playing football. But I just remember my goalie looks to me and goes, "Hey, I broke my wrist." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I fell in the net." I was like, "What the hell just happened?" One of my favorite childhood stories
I think
ever.
it was fractured, and I started kicking the ball in the net because the ball went way out of bounds. And I got a sip of water, my cleat got stuck in the damn net. I fell backwards, put my wrist down. I was like, "Oh, I gotta come out, go to the doctor. It's broken." I'm like, "Fine."
One of my favorite soccer stories ever.
Somebody's got to have video of that subway out there. We got to.
That's on VHS.
It's probably not focused on me though. It's probably focused.
Well, maybe they're following the ball outside there. It's going down. That's funny. All right. How about loser of the week? Casey,
I already did my loser with the Giants. Let me do my winner. Stare off. It's the stare down. That stare down between those two UFC guys had 4 minutes of just when they got in the ring during all the introductions, all the guys going crazy, saying or the main event, whatever that guy, and they're just staring each other down. If you look it up on YouTube, it's a crazy little 4 minutes of just death stares. No blinking allowed.
I didn't see that one. Casey, you got a loser of the week? I think we did winner.
Always owner of the A's. It's
Good call.
Terrible.
The Sharks get Celebrini. Are we celebrating? Are the Sharks back? Are they Jumbo Joe doing the #1 pick? Are the Sharks back? Does nobody cares? Nobody cares. Ryan, where are you at? We needed you in the chat to fire up Celebrini. That's what we needed you. We needed you Mr. Celebrini out of Boston University, #1 pick with it. Did you guys see for a loser of the week, Jamarcus Russell? He got fired from his high school for apparently what it sounds like is he asked business or alum or something like that for money to help with the weight room. Guy cut him a $75,000 kind of check to go to the school. Turns out like he basically took $55,000 out of it and stuff. So he gets fired from that. He's not welcome back at his school where he played high school at. Man, continues to be a tough case for him of just poor decisions along the way here. It's hard to feel bad for him. I mean, he made a ton of money, like over maybe $36 million, but just, I don't know. All right,
he's got to be the worst. He's got to be the worst #1 overall pick in any sport, I would say.
Ryan Leaf and him would be at least Leaf.
He wasn't #1 though.
That's true. Yep. #1 in our hearts for a while, but yes, that was whatever.
My dad texted me, says the best Warriors big men are Chamberlain, Thurman, and Parrish.
well, my grandfather was alive. My
dad is as old as a grandfather.
That's crazy.
How old is your pops now, T?
He's listening right now. 60, 66, 68, 67. I don't know. Hopefully he's younger. Younger or old.
If you just cover all the 60s, then you're good.
Yeah, I think he's in the 60s still.
Just don't say 7 behind it.
So yeah, that was Russell there. He goes down with it. What did you get? This is a random question before we end it, but I was just thinking, what's a fictional character? If you had to pick one like sports fictional character to go into the Hall of Fame, which one would it be? Is there like a sports, like for me, is there a guy that would belong possibly in the Hall of Fame as is it the guy from Bull Durham? Is he going there?
Casey at the bat.
Is it Rodriguez? Benny the Jet?
Benny the Jet. Mine is Gordon Bombay from the Mighty Ducks. I think he did enough in the coaching realm to get into the Hall of Fame. Then he goes into the NHL Hall of Fame.
Darren.
Yeah,
Darren, I've got to share this story with you and Tyler. So your son Derek, we're playing basketball hoops in the pool, and Amanda, our sister, dog named Benny the Jet, and I go, yeah, you watch The Sandlot? And he goes, yeah. And we're talking. He goes, I go, yeah, it's Benny. And he goes, no, it's Betty. And I was like, it's not Betty the Jet. And he goes, no, it's Betty. And I was like, and I told him, I was like, I'm going to call you out on your dad's podcast. And he goes, no, it's Betty. I go, I'll bet you $100 it's named Betty the Jet. I've never heard of Betty the Jet. He goes, don't tell my dad I said Betty.
Who's that wimpy deer over there? Exactly
I was like, I've heard of Betty Crocker, but I've never heard of Betty.
That's a terrible one. Betty the Jet. I feel like this guy might belong to the Hall of
this
Fame.
level, son. Understood? All right, let's see what you can do.
He's a brave coach.
No pepper.
Nice velocity.
Sounded like it. Jesus.
How much?
96.
Better teach this kid some control before he kills somebody.
That was kind of one of my favorite scenes there. No, I love this, the no pepper, because nobody plays pepper anymore, but it just breaks the that movie has some great scenes along the way with it. Yeah, there's a lot of guys. One of these ones, I got to get I was watching that Little Big League movie again with the kids. I love that part. It's not even a baseball scene, but I'll get it on the screen. Not this time; it's too long. But when they're doing the math problem before the game, like that one, like how
that's a great one.
House in 5 hours and Tyler paints it in 4. How long would it take to do it together? And it takes them like 2 minutes to figure it out between the whole team. So that's always a scene that I always like. So we'll do that another time here with it. So I had that, and then my last loser of the week, just it's kind of a sad week for this. The debate was definitely a loser.
America is a loser.
That was we love old people though. We're not saying
Casey brought
up the Chris Paul lady. We did that. We love old people, all right. But that was my gosh, Tyler, that was a loser of the week.
Tyler, what's your handicap?
Tyler, how was golf this week though? Did you
if Joe Biden's a 6, I'm a 4.
Did you play golf Tuesday, Tyler?
No, I haven't played.
Are you playing golf this Tuesday?
Well, if we win today and tomorrow, no. But if we lose one of those,
playing today?
Yes.
No, golf. Your golf league.
Yes. If we win our little league
play.
game today and tomorrow, I won't be playing.
You won't be able to do it. Now Tuesday is supposed to be 105. Just to let you know on that one. So.
I'll go shirtless.
Yeah.
Let them hang.
What kind of is this? More than, is this July 1st is tomorrow. I don't know if you. All right.
You said shirtless, right?
The uppers.
I guess Oakmont's settling down on some of the rules. Oakmont's allowing a little bit more, I guess.
It's a private club.
So, if you're out there at 105, Tyler, good luck on Tuesday. So, all right, guys, that was a good show this week. Greg, if you're out there, we'll see you. We'll have July 4th next Thursday. as well.
60-something.
What are you doing for July 4th? Are you having a thing like you normally do?
We might do something over here. Yeah, we'll probably see the fireworks. So yeah, if you guys want to come by, I'll possibly. If maybe you guys will still be playing. Who knows?
Can you see the fireworks from your house, or do you have to walk a little ways?
No, I have to go somewhere. But we sell fireworks in Cloverdale still. We're the only Sonoma County. We're the only place in Sonoma County that
Stay
allows.
strong. Sonoma
strong.
County strong.
Stay strong, Clover, Kentucky. We're doing good over there. So. All right. We had a good show, guys. Tyler, it was nice that you were able to stay a little bit after rush off for a rare not baseball practice on your Sunday morning. Your coach did you. I guess you have a game, so you don't have to have
we have a game.
Good luck. You get El Molino today. Big game here for Sebastopol. So good luck to you with that. Casey, enjoy your 5 movies you watched today along the way. Give us an update, you and Doug, with that next week. We'll see you guys next Sunday. So for Casey Breyer, for Tyler McGurk, Fatboy FadeAway Sports, episode 181 in the books. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Bye.